Hello guys, welcome to this video. In our previous video, we created a new HTML file and we downloaded Bootstrap and hosted on our project. In the previous video, I also showed how to use Bootstrap CDN. That means you don't need to host your Bootstrap on your system. And we talked about Bootstrap colors, background colors, link colors, and different other concepts in Bootstrap. If you have not watched the previous video, I'll drop the link on the description box below. To follow along with these tutorials, you have to install some extensions, which I have here. I have Live Server installed on my VS Code as part of my extension. So if you don't have Live Server installed on your system, to follow along with me, you can install the live server. That's the live server I'm using. So you can install this live server to help us visualize the application on the web browser automatically each time we make new changes. Okay, so to see what we did on our previous class, we can open this file with live server. You can just right click on the HTML file, then look for open with live server. If I click here, I'm going to have this opened for me. So I already have this straight away. It has opened the live server on the web or the web application on the browser for me. So this is what we did in the previous lesson. If you have not watched this video, it's highly recommended that you check our channel and look for the video, the Bootstrap uh, playlist. You're going to see it. Then you can follow along with these tutorials. Okay, in today's video, we want to look at very important concept in programming, which covers breakpoints using Bootstrap, containers, and create system. This concept is very important when it comes to responsiveness. If you are building a mobile first um, responsive design, your application needs to be adaptive through all the breakpoints or devices that view your application. So that's the concept we're just going to cover today. And this concept is very important in programming because you always want to develop a website that people can view on Android devices, laptops of different screen size, and tablets. So this concept is very important. If you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe to my channel on the bell icon to get notification when I load new videos. Okay, let's dive in. Okay, to continue with this class, I'm just going to remove this page now. I'm going to remove this formatting from this page straight away. So if we check back, let me just position this side by side so we can see everything in real time. Right. So I have my browser up this side and I have my Visual Studio Code up this side. All right. If you don't have Visual Studio Code installed on your system, check out our channel. We have a video for that can guide you how to install Visual Studio Code. All right. So if we check as the importance of having live server on installed on our Visual Studio Code is to monitor and reload this web browser for us. For instance, if I type anything, if I have head 3, say heading like so. So it will automatically refresh the browser for us, track the changes here, and reload the browser. All right, so that's why we need this live server extension. All right, so today we're going to cover this concept. These are the concepts we're going to cover. The first one is breakpoints used in Bootstrap, and we have containers and create system in Bootstrap. This concept is very important in programming when you talk about responsive design. Bootstrap we have established in the previous video is a predefined classes that have already been written, which you just need to call into your HTML. Then the changes is going to be applied in your HTML. Bootstrap is nothing but it's just a CSS file and JavaScript that are has already been written. We have already established this concept. You can as well check the previous class. This is how Bootstrap look like. So it's just a predefined class, CSS classes that have already been written for us, which we can make use of to fasten our design. All right. So I use this concept as well very well. So it's of a very high use. So I decided to make a video for it. All right, this is the lesson three of this Bootstrap tutorials. You can look out for the first lesson. The core concept of responsive design is breakpoint. Like we're going to see it in real time how it works. For your design to be responsive across different viewports, it has to deal with breakpoints, and in CSS, the breakpoint can be achieved using media queries, right? Maybe if you have not understand about what is media query in CSS, you can check our channel. You'll see a video on that. So I'm just going to bring a very brief explanation of media query so you really understand what is breakpoint. For instance, let me bring up a div with a class of text as well, and I need to have some padding, right? Padding of 4, and I'll also have a text. I'll just say testing breakpoint. All right. So I have this. If you checked on the browser, we have this testing breakpoint, and if I put background, you're going to see it. But now let me bring a CSS in internal styling inside here so we can demonstrate how media query in CSS works. So you really get the full concept of breakpoints in Bootstrap, so you'll not be confused anymore. So for me to style this, I will just give a general style for this right away. I can say that the general style for text, which is this text. I want to style it. I want to give it a general background, like background color of, let me call it red. So if you check here now, we have a red color, which is from our CSS, right? And we want to make the text to be at center, text line center straight away, and we want to go text bold, font width. I want to give it 24 pixels as well. Okay, font width 20 rather, 20 pixels. I think font width, sorry, bold rather. Then font size, so you're going to see this thing very well. Font size, I'm going to use 24 pixels as well. Good. So we have this, right? Okay. If I expand this in a big laptop, this is how it is, right? And if we try to string this, if you open this div tools, this inspect, just right click on the page, come down to inspect. So we're going to have this. If I shrink this, you're going to see that everything is still at the center, right? This is how the page is. And just check up here as I shift, you're going to see the sizes. These are the sizes, right? The size of the screen is always there when you tilt it. Look here, right? Just look carefully. You're going to see that, yeah, look at it. So now let me show you how at media queries works, right? Okay, so once you apply a style in CSS, it's going to be applied across all the viewports, right? You will understand what is a viewport and breakpoint in a few seconds. We'll stay coming down there. So what if I want my design to be at some, maybe when it gets to a certain screen, I don't want this text to be as center again. I want it to be as start, right? That's at my left hand side. Okay, I can achieve stuff like that, or also change the background color when it gets to a certain screen size. So we can achieve that using add media query down here. So with add media query, we can specify the screen size, what we want to happen once we hit the specific screen size, right? Okay, so I want I'll just use at media screen, right? Add media in CSS like so. Okay, I can now have minimum width as my uh, attribute there, minimum width. Then I want to specify the screen. I want if it gets to a screen of 576 pixels right away, like so. This these changes will take effect automatically. Okay, I think I made some spelling. Sorry for that. So I need to call the element I'm trying to target. In this case, let me just expand this so you're going to see. In this case, I'm trying to target this specific element, a class test. So I'm going to call the class at test as so. I'm going to tell what I want the class to be at background. I want it to be green straight away, right? Okay, let's check out something, right? So if I expand this, you have already seen, right? So if I get to this particular viewport, right, which is we define 576, right? From 576, what up there? 576, 576. You see that automatically the color changed to green. So from 576 upward is going to be green color, right? So this is how media query work. Yeah. So once your device hits the viewport of 576, the color is going to change to green. Once it's above that, the color will still change. What happen is once we target this screen by 576, this style we apply, right, is going to go across 576 and above. Is from 576 and the screen above will have green color, but below 576 is going to have this other red color. Let's check it out. Below 576 will be having a red, but above 576 will be having green, right? Okay, I can do stuff like I want from 576, let it be text center, then below 576 text line, text line center. Then below 576, which will be this default one, right? If we don't specify, I want the text to be start as start. So let's check it out. We already see that our text is center. And if we go below 576, we're going to have our text start like this. So this is how media query works. And this is how you can do different kinds of stuff in different viewports and device screen sizes. So this is what we're going to do, and we can do more complex things. It's not you can specify media query for um, all of the screen you are having, right? So at minimum screen, minimum width, state that this style will be applied only when the screen hits a certain width. So what if I still stay from the screen of 768 pixels when my screen grows to 768 pixels and up, right? Let this style be applied to. I can still want to change the color, so I'll still target this, right? Maybe I target this at text, then I want the font size to be around um, 30 pixels, right? And I want the background color to be white. Background color to be white, like so, right? So you see that from this screen, from 500 and 768 pixels up, we're going to have white, and the text color will be 30 pixels, will be bigger. And if we come down, it's now going to be smaller. This is how to manage this, right? Okay. And also, I want to bring up another concept as well so you really understand this. So, we can as well have we can as well have some containers, other containers as well. So let me define a container that will hold some of these things. So I can have a div container. Let me just name it custom container. This is my custom container, right? So uh, I want to have two div dot right, left rather, left. So left, then div dot right, right away. So I'm going to call it right straight away. Okay, so I have two divs. Now I have left and right div. If you check it now, you're not going to see, you just see something like this. But let me put background color and some padding from Bootstrap so you understand. I have padding for and background color of success straight away. Then here I want to have, if you check here, you're going to see that we have this, right? This is what we have. I can comment out this straight away, so I will not have this show. We can only have this. So let me also put in this one padding of 4 in Bootstrap. If you don't understand this Bootstrap classes, you can check our previous video. We have covered it already. So padding of this and background color of let me call it danger, right? So we have two colors. Now, if you look by default, HTML elements are to be stacked under each other except when it is block element, except it's an inline element, right? So you might want on some devices, you want this to be right and you want this to be left on some device screen. Only when it gets to a smaller device screen like this when this will stack, right? So you can achieve this with media query very well. And what likely we can do is to style this. Normally, this particular class is if I put border treat, you see that is it is a block level element because it's a div, right? And all these are inside. So we can actually position this. We can specify the width and the height as some media screen. So I can say at media, I want the minimum width to be min width. I want the minimum width to be at this screen. When it is at a screen of 570, let me start from the bigger screen. The bigger screen, we're going to have like extra large and large, or I should just make use of this. Sorry, let me make use of this particular one. So we'll not spend so much time explaining this. And I want to remove this as well since we have commented out this. Okay. So at media screen of 5 576 pixels, what I really want to do, at this is a smaller device, I want this to stack, right? So I'm going to target um, this element left and right, that's the class. So I can say at left, left. So I can now say display, display, abi width rather. Width, I can say 100% straight away. Then the same thing I'll do for right, right, dot right class, dot right width. I'm going to give 100%. 100%. Okay, so you notice that once this hits the screen, it will definitely be this. But at this screen, that's tablet screen, I will want it to be side by side. So on this particular screen size, I will want at left to be at width, the width, minimum width of, let me just call it 49%, right? And that is for left, and I will want the right to be at 49% as well. 49% with 49% as well. Okay, let's check it out. Now, if I expand this, right, you see what we really have already. That the screen cannot, it cannot flow till the screen size, right? It cannot flow again, right? Okay, so part of the thing I can do for it to work very well, I need to use, let me say 48 and 48. Okay, it's still where it is. I can use left to float. I can just say float, float left as well, while I make this to float right. Right, automatically. So if you watch, you're going to see that at this screen size, we have this and we are having curve. But if we shrink this, if we open the inspect tools and we expand this, once it hits that screen, we start having side by side, right? So when once the screen hits 768 pixels, we're going to have the two these two um, div float side by side. You see that we now have this. This is the basis of responsive design, right? This is the basis. I can still want, if it's more than this, it should do a specific thing. So if we get to a smaller device, from this device up, it's going to stack, right? This is the idea behind Bootstrap breakpoint. Okay, I believe that we have really taken our time. I've taken my time to explain this particular concept about Bootstrap and media query, which is the important concept to review how breakpoint in Bootstrap works, right? So you not get confused because automatically the screen, each column supposed to carry 12, each row supposed to carry 12 columns, like there's 12, right? Okay, so let's go straight away to the breakpoints we have in CSS. This was just for demonstration for a proper understanding using CSS, right? Okay, so I'm going to do away with all of this. Likely, if you are using Bootstrap in your application, you do not want to go through all this stress of designing the responsive media query. It's going to take you, if it is a bulky application, it's going to take you a very lengthy time for you to be able to um, make the application responsive. That's where Bootstrap comes in because the class has already been written for you. So in Bootstrap, we have uh, 6 available breakpoints. The very first breakpoint is extra small device. Extra small device. I think I should just take you there. So you just say, if you go to Bootstrap, if you type Bootstrap 5 on your system, so I'm going to open Bootstrap uh, version 5.2. That's what we are working with, and that's the latest version as of now. So we're going to go straight to layout, and we're going to go to breakpoints. So I like you see it straight. So this is the official website of Bootstrap. You can always come here. So these are the available breakpoints in Bootstrap. We have breakpoint and we have the class uh, prefix that we can use and the screen dimensions where they are applied. So we have extra device. Then the extra device, when once you define a class and or a component and you didn't give it any class breakpoint, it's going to take this default. Every element in CSS always take this default class, right? They always take the default class. So if it is a block level element, it's going to span the entire screen. For example, what we just did, we will have a div like so, just a div. I'll just give it the background color straight away. So let me give it the background color of, of primary. Okay, so I'll just say default. This is the default. This if we go here, let me see whether I get this account of primary. Okay, we get this setup. Let me try refreshing this. Okay, so you see that the element span, if I have another one again, it's going to stack under each and every one, right? So if I have this one warning, it's going to stack under this one, right? So that's the default behavior of HTML elements, right? So that's why it always take this, and since it is applied to the smallest screen size, this is the smallest screen size in question. That should be 5. Smallest screen size is less than 567 pixels. So if we check it, 567 pixels. Just watch up here. You skate the number 557. 576 pixels, less than 576. 576. So all these are small device, right? So once it's being applied here, right, it's going to be applied to all of the class, right? Both um, this from this small screen to all of them to extra large. So once a specific style is being applied to a certain viewport, it's going to be the viewport and above. Any other viewport up the viewport, the style is still going to be applied to it unless you override it. Okay, that's how it is. So this is the smallest screen size, and I've showed you here. Look at it here, 576 6 pixels. This is the less than this. So any screen size that falls under this is seen as a small screen, right? Okay, so it always default. So that's the screen size, and there's no class prefix for it, so without giving it a class name. So for small screen, that's the class prefix is SM. You can say SM, which stand for small. Then from screen, greater than 576 pixels. Any screen above 576 up like this till 768, right? So any screen to this size, 768, so is seen, yeah, 68 is seen as, this is right, from all this to this size is seen as small device, right? Greater than 768. From here upward is seen as 700, right? A small device. Okay, so while the medium device, the class name is seen as MD and is from 768 pixels, right? To around 991.5 pixels, right? Is seen as a small device. Then large device is seen from here. This can be seen uh, as from laptop screen, some small laptop screen. So this first one, a screen that can have all this can be the landscape of a phone, right? Or smaller phone. If you turn a phone on a landscape, you have this specific screen size. And for medium device, can be a tablet screen, or for small device, sorry, this will be a tablet screen, right? Tablet screen upward can be a this small device. Then 768. Okay, sorry. This can be phones on portrait. Phones, when you use phone on portrait screen, you get this particular one. While when you use phone on landscape, if you turn phone on landscape, the screen is going to give you this particular size. Then this particular size. Then if you use tablet, you're going to have this screen size, that's the medium screen. And if you use desktop, you're going to have this kind of screen. Desktop is going to give you this kind of screen and some laptop screen. Then this particular one, this is extra large. If you are using larger desktop with large screen, you're going to have this. And this particular screen are very larger uh, laptop or desktop with big screen. Okay, so these are their class: SM, MD, LG for large, and XL for extra large, and XXL for extra large. These are the breakpoints and the dimensions of screen. And you know that when you build applications, these are the screens that will likely use your application, laptops, phones, and of different sizes. So you're going to make your application responsive. So Bootstrap has already made this as a range where we can make use of it. So each breakpoint can be chosen comfortably and you work with it very well. Yes. Okay, and every breakpoint holds a container whose width are multiples of 12. So every breakpoint the width is always a maximum of 12, right? So all the calculations we're going to do is going to fall in between this 12. All right, so how the next question will be, how can we make use of all this and see it works in action? These are class names like this. If I can just call XN like this, which is small, definitely it's going to be a class name. But like this, you're not going to see any kind of result like this until you make the combinations of many other things. Okay, so in the next series we're going to enter, you're going to see how we're going to use all this and we'll work together. All right. So now The next thing we're going to talk about, we're going to come back here when we're doing a sample so you understand better. We're going to talk about container. Okay, container in Bootstrap are very useful. Her fundamentals building block of Bootstrap, it contains padding and alignment, and also help to align content within a given device or few ports. So we're going to see how we're going to use the container straight away. So containers are the most basic layout element in Bootstrap, and they are required when using the default grid system, which we're going to talk about here. And also containers are used to contain path. Containers contain paths and sometimes are used to center content within them. Alright, so Bootstrap comes with three different containers. We have the container class that Bootstrap has. It has a container as a class. Container, right? You already see I have that. That's the first class container, and it has dot container, then space the breakpoints we want to use. Remember that we said we specify some breakpoints here. We set some breakpoints, SM, MD. This is what we call breakpoint, right? So we specify where we want this breakpoint to be. If we want it at MD, we're going to say MD, right? Container MD. So we're going to have container MD, and we have what we call container flip dot container flip. Okay, these are the three classes Bootstrap containers comes with. We have container with the breakpoint, which can be SM, MD, LG, Excel, and so on and so forth. So let's look at what each of them do. This is container. So container breakpoint, container with breakpoint. Okay, so this is container flip. All right, let's check it out on the browser straight away. So we're going to look it out here. So if we check, we cannot see it very well. I'm going to remove some stuff, so we're going to see what actually we are doing. So I'm going to remove all of this straight away. And if you look up, everywhere is scattered. So I'm going to put color to it, so you're going to see it very well. So I can give BG secondary to this container, while I give, if you check, this half color now, so I want to put some padding to it, padding 4. Okay. Oh, this is where I want to give padding 4 as well. So we have these changes, right? So that's what we do. We're just going to add it to all these, right? So I'm going to give this one BG um, info. These are classes in Bootstrap. If you don't know about these classes, just check out our last video on Bootstrap. You're going to get it. So I'm going to have BG success as well. Then I'm going to have padding 4. Okay, so these are their differences, right? Now watch. This first one container, right? Container will not span the entire width of the application, right? It will set the max width at each breakpoint, and it will not take the full width of the screen. It's going to leave some padding for you straight away here. So while container, this container breakpoint, which is MD, is going to be container at this stage. But if you shrink it, if you get to a certain few ports, like few ports below MD, you're going to see that it will take the full width, while this other container is still the way it is, right? This other container is meant to be a container having some margin at left and right? While this one, the second container with breakpoint, will only be a normal container, as in pure container, when it get to um medium device, because we specify MD. If we specify SM, so even at medium device, right, it's going to be still be a container, right? At medium device, it's still going to be a normal container with some padding at the side. But if you do SM, LG, so it's going to be container fluid even when we have this filled up, right? At large device, right, is going to be a container, right? Okay, so these are the categories of container we have in Bootstrap. Then container fluid, which is the last one, we always span the full width of the application. Depending on what you want to achieve, you're going to know the one you're going to make use of. But you don't have to worry much how to use it and where to use it, because after this, the next tutorials we're going to have, videos we're going to cover some projects that will combine all these concepts and bring up something good, which you can actually see from that and know how to use it. Okay, so a container can follows all the breakpoints at container at small device, that screen size of five 500 76 pixels, the container is 100%. So if we shrink this to 576 pixels, you're going to see, you just watch up here to see the number 576 pixels, the container is going to be 100%, 576. All right, you can see that the that container now is 100% now. It's now behaving like container flip in other viewport. So even container SM at the viewport of 576 pixels is going to be full 100% width. That means it's going to occupy the entire width, right? Okay, but it's going to occupy the entire width. But when it gets all the devices, all the containers or whether container with breakpoint or container field, when it is of screen size of 576 pixels and below, is going to take the full width of the viewing device. All right. Okay. So this is how it works fine and good. Okay, that would take us to our next lectures on this, which is going to be grid system. Grid system is another one important concept in Bootstrap programming that we're going to look at so very well. I still remember that we need to do breakpoints, and we're going to talk about it very well. Okay, grid system uses a powerful mobile first flexible grid to build layout of all shapes and sizes. So we use grid system to build layout which we can use in our application. So Bootstrap grid system uses a series of container rows and columns to lay out and align content. So we're going to make use of containers, rows, and columns to build a layout and alignment. So the basic concept is you're going to combine all these things together and it will work. And this layout grid system is built with the concept of flexbox. A flexbox is still what we're going to talk about as we continue in this series. So we're going to bring a very basic example where we can combine the breakpoints and all this to form a grid system. All right. So for instance, now we'll have a div with a class name of container. Remember, when you're working with a grid system, you always wrap your grid with a container for proper alignment. Okay, it's important when you are working with this grid system actually talks about rows and columns, right? As the name implies, rows and columns is going to give you some kind of grid system. So you're going to, when you're talking about rows and columns, that means you must have a row and you must have a column. Now we have the next thing we're going to have is the row. In Bootstrap, row contain uh, 12 columns. Each of the rows must contain 12 columns. So if it is above 12 columns, that means it will not fully be responsive, right? The site is not going to be responsive. So you're just going to limit everything to 12 columns in a specific row. That makes your application fully responsive. So we just have a row. Let me show you what really happened on the site. I think I should remove this so that we're going to follow, or rather I comment it out. Okay, so if you check now, you're not going to see anything on the side, but believe me, if we inspect this, you're going to see those elements straight away. If we expand this body straight away, you're going to see the container and the row. You can see them here, right? But it's not visible here. And as well, if I put border in it, if I put border enter, you're going to see that there's actually something. Watch, you can see a small tiny line here. If I even put padding like 2, you're going to see it very well. Can you see that? So actually we have something there, but it's not visible. That is for the container, right? Then for the row too, if I put border, you're going to see that the row is inside, is a child of the container, and border this time around warning, you're going to see that we have, you can see something inside there, right? Okay, we have something like that. So if I still put padding to maybe 1, you're going to see that we have a a row, right? We can actually write something inside. So you see how it is. Maybe inside this one I write container right away. You're going to see that we have a container, and inside here we have a row, right? Row straight away. So you're going to see, so the row is inside the container, right? So this is actually a very good concept. The row is inside a container, right? Okay, this is how we always have it to form a grid system. It will help to align your content inside the grid system with this, right? Okay, so I'm going to remove this because we are working our ways to build our first grid system using Bootstrap. So if I remove all these things, you just see this. We don't even need this padding and this. We're just using it for demonstration. So I'm going to remove all of them right away. So we just have two divs, the first one container, the first one row. So you just see a plain screen. Okay, so the idea is now we have row, we need to have columns. Now the grid system deals with rows and columns, right? And the alignment. So we can, in Bootstrap, we have a class that is called column. We can just have div dot class name, which is column, cols. This is how to call columns in Bootstrap. So this is the first column. I want to bring the second column, div dot cols again. So let me call it first column, uh, column 1 rather, column 1, and I'm going to have column 2, and I want to have column 3 as well, d dot cols, right? So I'm going to have column 3, column 1, sorry, straight away. Let's check it out. You can see how it's being positioned. We have column 1, and we also have column 2, and as well as column 3 straight away. So we have 1, and we have 2, and we have 3. You can see that each of them are side by side in a grid format, right? So maybe you don't see well, I'm going to put color to them so you're going to see very, very well. So DG light, let's check out the color is still looking white. So let me put something different. DG info. Okay, I'm going to have DG primary here, and I'm going to have BG secondary here, right away. So these are the grid. So automatically we have built a grid system now. So we have the first column, second column, and third column. So, but you can notice that it's inside a container, and a container will always give you this padding side, margin left and right, which will be 24 pixels left and right, if I'm not mistaken. So that's how it will always give you. But if we change this container to container view, dash fluid, you're going to have everything span to the screen. These are their differences. You have to note it very well. Container flip will not give you any padding, any margin left and right. It will span 100% on the width, right? Okay, this is the first grid system I can. But if you shrink this, notice, let's have a look at them at different screen size. Just watch. It automatically still going small tiny till it gets to the smallest one before it's going to stack it, right? Even as at that, it's not responsive very well. Yeah, because if you have content written here, when it gets to a smaller device like this, I'm not sure anybody is going to will be able to read it. If it was a form, this is going to be very tiny, right? Okay, that's how you can build a grid system, but this one is not actually fully responsive the way we think about it, right? So I think the best thing to do is to specify, give it a breakpoint. Each of the devices, each of the div element, that's the div element, will state a breakpoint that when it gets to a certain breakpoint, something should happen, whether we want to stack it or any other thing. So remember we talked about breakpoint in our previous listing where we mentioned SM, MD, LG, XL, and so on and so forth, right? Okay, and we also established that each row contains 12 columns, right? Initially, we are having only 3 columns inside here. So we might want to split these columns to the way we want it to be based on breakpoint. So I can use call, then I'll enter the breakpoint. If I put um, call dash the breakpoint, right? In this case, maybe I say at large device, I want it to be 6, right? I want this particular one to be 6, or I want it to be 4. So this one too, at large device, I want it to be 4. Takes a column of 4, span 4 column, and at this last one to at large device, I want it to take a span 4 column, right? 4, right? So I have 4, 4, 4. If you add it, 4 plus 4, that is 8. 8 plus 4, that is 12. It's not more than 12, right? And 1 is not more than 12 apart from that, right? So each row takes 12 what? Columns, right? So if we check it out automatically, large device, we have this. This how it was before, but if we try to inspect it, you can see that when it gets to medium device, it automatically stack under each other, right? Which brings about responsiveness of the grid system. You see that, right? Okay, it starts on medium device, right? Medium device, we automatically have a start. But really, I want when it gets to medium device like this, I want to have two columns, right? Then the remaining one will stack under the two, right? So I can actually achieve that by adding another class on each of them, right? So this particular class would track when it is large device. If you remember when we did at media query, we did for large device, medium device, and small device, and many other devices. So we can state all of them here, right? Okay, so I can still have when it gets to this viewport column, this is the viewport medium device MD as we have specified here. Medium device is from a screen creator or equals to 768. I want it to have two columns right on the create this thing. So I want to have six, so I can just add again. Remember to put space before you type. So MD6 as well as MD6, MD dash home dash MD dash 6. Okay, so let's check it out now. Okay, you can see that when you are on large device like so, you have your target grid. When you are on small device or medium device rather, watch, that's from 7 something upward, check, you're going to see two stacks like this, and the remaining one will stack on the right, and I think that's nice. Okay, and when you go join the medium device, the three of them is going to stack under each other, which brings about the responsiveness of the design, right? Okay, so this is how you use the grid system in Bootstrap. You can use it to achieve many more concepts. So from here, you can now see how to build a simple thing with this. We're going to look at how to build stuff with this and make it more responsive. So you can still go as far as specifying for uh, small devices. But since small devices are the somehow default, everything is going to stack. If you check when it gets to small device, it will automatically stack on that three. So I can possibly leave it, but depending on your own requirements, you might likely want to override it. So you can do that by specifying the class here as well, right? Like so calls dash sm, then what you want. If you want 12, let it take 12. If you want 10, let it take 10. Anything you wish to do, then you're going to automatically do it, right? Okay, so this is how to go about the grid system here. And when you are using the row can text a quota straight away, can take a quarter. So the quarters will allow to give um, padding, left and right padding on each of these. So we can have uh, the quarter in our application to be whatever we want, right? Okay, let's just try to add some quarter to the application right away so we see how it goes. So on the row itself, this is where we're going to pay quota. G class is for quota straight away. So you can as well specify which of the quota, whether is be a few ports if you want, but if you just put quota 2, it's going to be applied to all the few ports straight away, right? So if you try to check this, you're going to see that we have a small quota here. If you look here, we have two quarters there, right? Okay, so it's going to be that way automatically. All right, so that is how I think the quota is actually very interesting when you are having like two grid, like so it's going to give the quota a very in a very good way. So you can specify quarter X, like so. X, then you can specify whether two or more or whatever, it still work, and you can specify quarter Y depending on what you want to achieve straight away. So this is how to build grid system using Bootstrap. I believe that the concept will really help you to work fast and bring up your program within the specified time without wasting too much time to write bulky CSS and media query to see your application responsive. If you like this video, please kindly subscribe to my channel, drop comments and like my video. You can share my video as well. If you have any problem or you have a specific problem you want us to tackle for you, you can drop it on the comment section or you reached out to us. Then we're going to look into it and make video on it as per your demand. See you in the next video. In the next video, we're going to bring up a simple project using this bootstrap and see how we can combine it together to bring up a full working application that is fully responsive across all these devices, and we'll keep on building complex stuff with it.